Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. Episode 197, Yours is Ours. From Diddy, some new Juneteenth drama, should I say, sorry. And Trump and Musk. How y'all doing? Another week has passed. Been about, 3 weeks now since I made something? Some stuff going on, but everything is in order now. But, we got a lot to get to. Hold on. We can get you a lot of stuff. And I said, it's funny. I said a few months ago, maybe March, something around that time. I said the Trump situation, because I had people ask, what are my real opinions of Trump and this new iteration of his administration and what's going on? And I said around June is when you can have a real opinion on him. I think more will be revealed, or at least certain things will come crashing down, or things will be working out for him. Whichever way you believe it will go. I said around June and July is where you have a better understanding or picture of what he's trying to do. And I think I definitely have come to a conclusion on him. Hold on, let me get to some stuff. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. The ugliest things Trump and Musk just said about one another. So coming into this election cycle last year, it really has started last election when what happened with the laptop that was found that belonged to Hunter Biden, getting certain websites stopping it from being talked about, particularly Twitter at the time. And a lot of people believe that led to the loss, quote unquote, for Donald Trump, because certain information was covered up and Biden was protected. Fast forward, Elon Musk buys the website, changes the name to X, and last year, I wouldn't say it was completely used in Trump's favor, but it definitely benefited him. You could even make an argument that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, was a lot more pro-Trump, particularly most of the media or social media company owners, CEOs or whatever. They were definitely softer on Trump in their coverage and the information they allowed to be public. It benefited them. But I did notice, as everyone said, that Musk clearly is one of those dudes that was attempting, at least, to use Trump as a puppet. There was even the media narrative for the longest that Trump is just a puppet for Elon Musk and what he wants to do. I said from the beginning that Trump doesn't let anyone use him. He only gives them it only looks that way if he allows it. But in the end, he's always using them. So Trump is trying to get through a new bill, economic bill, that a lot of Republicans are pushing back against. But Musk in particular was vehemently against it. He called out Trump's contradictions as far as his how he spoke about spending and the debt that exists versus what he's doing now. And clearly, this is all about Trump and his electric cars new agenda, at least, defunding it. And Trump bringing over these South Africans was just a media thing. I think it was a couple dozen people. It wasn't even that many people. I talked about it. Probably wasn't even really a story that should have been covered. But it's now led to this blow up where Elon is proven to be the socially awkward person that he is. So let me just show this right here. Let me show this. So in this, they point out some of the things that they said about each other. Musk linked Trump to Epstein, as you can see here. Oh, I might actually unmute myself. Hold on, y'all. One thing. Hold on. Okay. Musk accused Trump, saying the reason why Trump hasn't released the Epstein files is because he's in the files, Trump himself. Even though I think he said this because obviously out of anger. He knew it would grab headlines and it would embarrass Trump. But Trump, I feel like he's kind of played this smoothly in the media. The things he's hit Elon Musk back with hasn't been so. He hasn't went as far as I thought he would go, at least as far as I've seen. He just pretty much accused him of being selfish and having his own agenda. And the Musk Trump thing being a big deal, at least the part where Elon Musk, as you can see right here, Musk took shot at Trump's election win, basically saying, I'm the reason he won. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would have controlled the House, and Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. I said, this is what I believe. I said it with the Israelis when Israel was kind of angry with Trump for working with certain Middle East countries without coming to them first. And Trump was pretty much saying publicly, mind your business. Even though in America, Trump won't allow Americans, especially on college campuses and the businesses, to say certain things about Israel. He doesn't want Israel to have any input in America's foreign policies anymore, I guess. Which goes back to brings up my biggest point. I've seen people accuse Trump, because it is his, at least we think so far, his last chance at being president. The second term is after this. And he's moving like somebody who this is his last term. He's not trying to campaign anymore. He's not campaigning. He doesn't have to win anything over anymore. It's over. So the way he's moving, some people accuse him of being committing a heist, pretty much setting up things right now so that when he's out of office, instead of being worth whatever he was worth before, he'll be worth a couple billions. That he's trying to line his own pockets. As me and Travis of last year, we kept bringing up how Trump was doing so many things to quote unquote cut spending, and the Doge thing with Elon Musk. He was doing so many things that it seemed like he was trying to cut spending for America, because at that point we thought maybe some economic crisis was coming that he's been told about, or something down the line was coming that he was preparing for. Now people believe he's just doing favors from behind the scenes to line his pockets. I don't know if that's completely true, but that's what a lot of people are leaning towards now. Is there anything I want to show? Trump's allegation of Musk being a flip-flop. Hold on. Let me show this. The world's most powerful man and his richest man are lobbying threats and insults on the rival social media platforms, sparked by disagreements over Trump's big, beautiful bill. That's the economic bill. And when you look at the bill, most of it's the typical stuff. He did have in that bill, it's something small, I guess. He did have in that bill to get rid of the taxing tips and stuff like that. But also most of it is funding for military, obviously, money aside for the immigration situation going on. He wants to build they want to build an entire a building to house immigrants, a facility, should I say. So instead of the whole cages thing, the opposite of that, they want to build a whole facility for them to be able to go to. Instead of sending them through the border and letting them into the country to go whatever state they want to go to, house them in a facility to hold them there until they get processed. I think that's a positive thing. But I see the Democrats using this as an attempt to, they think Elon Musk is going to expose Trump for some type of election fraud. And I don't think that's the case. Hold on. I want to show this too. Let me show this. Elon Musk said this on Twitter. He said, and some food for thought. As they ponder the question, Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I'll be around for 40 plus years. This takes me back to a discussion I tried to have a few weeks ago until Joe Budden and them flagged me when we was live, so we couldn't get to it. When there was a discussion between Mark Lamont Hill and the cast where they were talking about should billionaires exist. And a conversation like that always turns into, well, billionaires don't just be billionaires, they become people with power in politics. When you have that much money, you automatically are going to have influence over governments. And they're going to make decisions that benefit the quote-unquote 1% rather than the general public. So this tweet right here, and even though there's a lot of, in America, capitalism is so entrenched in the culture that no matter where you're from, no matter your where you are economically, tax bracket you're in, everyone defends a billionaire because everyone thinks the American dream is real and that we all have the aspiration to become a billionaire. When majority, you're not. More than likely, you're not. But because that we've been sold that dream, Elon Musk type people, Bill Gates type people, constantly get defense from regular people because everyone thinks one day that may be me. But when I read this tweet, it sounded more like a threat than anything else. Saying that you being around for 40 years mean you're saying that for 40 plus years, or at least for the next 40 years, possibly, you will not only have influence, but gain even more influence and power in this country. And it's funny because this type of language from a foreigner especially wouldn't have been accepted 15, 20 years ago. It's just funny how the Trump era has caused such a drastic change in acceptance in public speech from these type of people. But anyway, let's see. Trump said the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. And as I said earlier, Elon Musk, time to drop the really big bomb. The real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. But a story out of this is getting ignored now. Palantir, Peter Thiel's data mining firm, helps Doge build master database to surveil track immigrants. So apparently it was building some database to track the immigrants, to keep track on and make sure to see where they are across the country. But they were also using this on American citizens. So you have a private company getting a government contract to build a database to track American citizens. Nothing new. Like for years, the CIA or whatever is never supposed to work on American soil, but we know they do. What up, Honorable? How you doing? Hopefully y'all had a good 3 weeks. Stress-free as possible as always. And I want to show this too. I want to show this. Let me show this. I'm not going to show all this. I want to show some of this. No. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going straight to this. The Haitian is turning on Biden and his White House. Karine Jean-Pierre's ex-colleagues panned her book about a broken White House. Fellow members of the Biden administration said she was often an ineffective messenger as press secretary, and her book is unhelpful to Democrats trying to rebuild it following last year's election losses. So, as I'm sure you already know, Karine Jean-Pierre, the former press secretary for Biden, left the Democratic Party, is now independent. I think that's the name of her book, Independent. I was a shocker. So she left the party and she's writing a book. And obviously this is just a money grab, quick money grab. What I'm getting from this is what's sad. For 4 years, YouTube, Facebook, at the time, Twitter, Instagram, all these platforms would flag, demonetize, and remove any videos that said the truth about the Biden White House. If you said certain things about the election, if you said something about Biden's mental acuity, anything, you were flagged, you were taken down or whatever. Now, Trump is in office. All these so-called liberals, Democrats, are coming out telling the truth. Karine Jean-Pierre pretty much came out and said, we covered up for him. The House was completely all over the place. They didn't know what they was doing. Saying what everybody else was saying publicly, but she got in front of that camera every day and lied. Former Biden White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre newly announced book detailing her work in a broken White House and her decision to become an independent garnered criticisms from former colleagues who say she was often an ineffective messenger. So they're blaming her for the messaging of the White House. Why nobody connected with it, I guess. In the book, it's unhelpful to the Democrats trying to rebuild following last year's election losses. On Wednesday, Legacy Lit announced the acquisition of Jean-Pierre's book, Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House, Outside the Party Lines, which the publisher says will detail the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. The book is set for release on October 21st. Came to Biden's defense somewhat. Jean-Pierre said in a statement that once Joe Biden's presidential term ended and Donald Trump returned to office, she determined that the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves from boxes. Now no party should exist. I wish this was a thinking of the average person. You still see these people on social media, these shields for Democratic Party. You would think after Trump won the first time that we would have moved away from this idea of picking a party, especially black people. Especially black people. We need to be clear-eyed about questioning rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past. It's sad when the common sense requires gunshots at this point, but she announced the book. I'm going to go through this right quick. Many of her former colleagues, we said it already. Jean-Pierre's announcing Wednesday let former Biden aides to tee off on her. People waking up. I would love to believe that, Honorable. I would love to believe after over 10 years that people are waking up. But I don't know. It's a slow burn, I guess. It's a slow burn. The fighting with Biden world is a larger part election angst and grievances amid new reporting of how Biden's staff tried to hide his physical and mental decline during his presidency. Jean-Pierre was a key part of the effort to conceal Biden's decline, vouching for his fitness and insisting the president, then 81, was as sharp as ever, even after last June's disastrous debate against Donald Trump. One former White House official who worked closely with Jean-Pierre told Axios that she is one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people I've ever worked with. She had meltdowns after an interview that asked about a topic not sent over by producers. She didn't know how to manage a team, didn't know how to shape or deliver a message, and often created more problems than she solved. And you know what else this tells me, by the way? The Democratic Party is ready to throw black women under the bus. 4 or 5 years ago, they don't talk about her this way. She's a black woman. We can't say this. We can't call a black woman in public an ineffective leader, an ineffective messenger, unable to handle her job, basically. They tell me they're ready to go a new direction, and they're going to throw black women under the bus, more than likely. Let me show this.
Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness.
She's still using all the talking points from when she was press secretary, by the way. What up, Craig? Craig said black women still gonna support them. I don't know. I think that when I say black women, I'm not talking about the everyday black American woman. I'm talking about the liberal, Democrat only, vote blue no matter who black woman. That's a different demographic. The academic, political class black woman. I think they were really, really angry with the Democratic Party. They feel like they threw Kamala under the bus, didn't support her enough, didn't push Biden out soon enough. I think they feel like they should have told Biden to step down in like 2022 so that Kamala could have been president for at least 2 years and then run. And that 92% thing they had going around when the election first ended, I think that a lot of those academic, political class black women, I think that a lot of them are still really angry. But they hate Trump, so who knows?
Of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does.
And it's funny, too. The liberal Democrat to moderate Republican pipeline is full as hell, ain't it? It's amazing to me how many of these types will lie to you in your face for years and then change their mind in public and not ask no questions. They just tell you, I came to an epiphany. I changed my mind. And it's just like, whatever. Honorable, the academic, flat black narrative, black woman. Yeah, that demographic. And we're going to get to those two people too. We got to talk about that delineation thing is not just political. It's not just cultural. It's going to have to be in all facets because a lot of the foreigners are causing very toxic conversations online by cosplaying as a black American, whether it's male or female. And it's leading to unnecessary conversations that's really painting bad images of both demographics. And they're not even from this country, but anyway.
And here's the truth, and here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this.
And this is also an attempt to sell a book. Oh, we can't be so partisan. Both sides have some truth. Trying to sell that money to all the Republicans too. All she had to do was give a little bit of kicking Democrats back in, and the Republicans will buy it too.
Space that we're in right now is if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to.
Well, which one is that? Is that Haitian? Is that LGBTQ? Which community do they need to stand with you with?
And vulnerable communities that I respect. I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important.
Honorable said, are they going to make her a bestseller? If I had to pick a side to do it, it would be the Republicans. They spend money. Republicans or right wing or whatever you want to call them spending money is the reason why you got Kanye doing what he doing. A lot of these entertainers in general, they do a lot of stuff they do because that side spends money for support. I bring it up all the time, but when I saw that Caucasian man walk up to Kanye, who was selling those White Lives Matter clothes, and the white man started crying, he said he feels seen. I said, cha-ching.
So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward?
All right, we get the same talking points. Unpartisan, let's work together to move forward, yada, yada, yada. Then I got to get to this. Let me show this. Jake Tapper. Now, this was a few weeks ago. Obviously, I didn't go live, but I want to get to this. Jake Tapper claims cover-up of Biden decline may have been worse than Watergate. Wow. By the way, Nixon, as much of a piece of shit he was, racist piece of shit he was, he get a real bad rap for Watergate. He didn't tell those people to do what they did, and they did it, and he tried to cover up to save them, and it ended up costing him his legacy and presidency, but hey, man, it is what it is. Let me play this. Hold on.
Joe Biden is not Richard Nixon. The hiding and the cover-up of his deterioration is not Watergate. I'm not entirely sure I agree, Jake, with that conclusion. Yeah, well, I'm not entirely sure.
The next line is it is an entirely separate scandal. It is a scandal.
Yes.
It is without question, and maybe even worse than Watergate in some ways.
Right.
Because Richard Nixon was in control of his faculties when he wasn't drinking, and the idea that we don't mean to exonerate. The only reason that we have the Watergate thing is there because we quote Archibald Cox, who was a Watergate investigator, talking about how powerful the presidency is and how presidents get surrounded by people who have a vested interest in keeping that president propped up. So that's the only reason we invoke Watergate, is just to make clear, like, it's not Watergate.
Right.
This is an entirely separate scandal, maybe even worse. I maybe even.
And what also makes Watergate, this Biden thing worse, is the fact that it was the media that covered it up. It wasn't just Biden aides. It was people in the media who were supposed to give us truth and honesty, and they lied to us. But people saw through it anyway, so it didn't matter. What up, Kiefer? How you doing? How you doing? It's just funny how, and it's just funny. So many stuff they call conspiracy theories, or lies, or misinformation, disinformation, end up coming out true. Biden now did have mental decline. We weren't crazy. He didn't just have a stutter. Yes. Pfizer, the COVID shots, those companies must now put a warning label that says it may cause myocarditis and heart problems and all the other stuff. That wasn't just a conspiracy theory. Now it's law, but all right, it is what it is. Moving on.
Yeah, so
I want to get to a topic. And I've had this conversation multiple times, but this person, I want to ride off of her clip right quick. Hold on, y'all. All right. Craig said, so all that Biden allegations were true. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Hunter Biden's laptop was real, and then all those people that said it was fake, all those alphabet agencies that agreed that it was fake was lying. Hillary Clinton was lying about the investigation into Trump. They was all lies, but let me play this though.
yeah, so I was at a family office conference, and if y'all don't know what a family office is, it's generally a family that has accumulated some wealth, generally more than $50 to $100 million, and they manage everything themselves. Okay, so we're at this conference, and the guy, he says to me, he's actually an Indian guy, and so he says, Indian people, we got a couple things. We got motels, corner stores, like gas station type deals. Vietnamese people have nail shops. Cambodian people in California have donut shops. And he's just like running down the list. Indian tribes got casinos. And then he looked at me, he said, what black people got? And I was like, and then I posed the question to Instagram and Twitter, and I got some reasonable answers back, which was like, oh, we got barbecue, we got this, we like businesses that we do historically in the Black community. But the differentiator is teach one, fund and mobilize each other in these industries like what they're talking about. And if you've never seen this documentary, you should definitely go and watch it. It's called The Donut King. The guy was a Cambodian refugee. He comes and he gets a job at a donut shop, and the person starts teaching him some money for a down payment to start his own business. And then once he got it up and running, more Cambodian refugees were coming, and he was like helping them learn the business. He would teach them the business, then he'd put them in business. All right, help them go get a lease, help them get financing, all of the things. They stand it up, they pay him back, and then they do it for somebody else. And so at one point, there were like 400 donut shops owned by Cambodian refugees. And so I look at that and I say, wow, we do got barbecue restaurants, but when have they ever shared a business practice? When have they ever even shared like the special seasoning that all got seasoned salt in it? Or said, okay, you open another location, I'll help you with the down payment. I'll help you get your lease terms. I'm going to help you because if you've never been in an industry, you don't even know what to ask.
Facts.
So now you got people who are in lease terms that are terrible that you could have helped because you've been through it and you've been burned before.
Why do you think that is, though?
I'm gonna get to this. Honorable, having this redundant conversation. You know the history. What's the solution? I brought this up to say, her comparing Black people to refugees or immigrants don't make sense, because when an immigrant comes here, normally they come with them, their family, and they're quote unquote alone. While they're here, they get these breaks to get certain funding and loans or whatever, and they start these businesses. Then they meet another person from their country that's also a refugee. Wait, what? Stop talking about black. What? Then they meet someone else from their country, and it's not just about them being the same race or ethnicity. They're now trying to rebuild a group in another place that's foreign. So they're building a community versus black people. We already have a community that has been destroyed, or cities have been destroyed multiple times throughout the history. So it's not the same thing. If you ask any other demographic in America that's been here for more than 30, 40 years, you could say most of them are kind of selfish towards just their immediate family. It's no longer about building the culture. It's already been built. So unfortunately, because of the things we've been through, it has led to a quote unquote lack of help or camaraderie in business, because one of the sayings you always don't do business with strangers sometimes. But I also want to get to the other side of this. The thing I said this before, black people need to get out of entertainment. Everybody want to be a rapper or in media or whatever. And I say, well, the biggest export in the black community is our culture. That being music, food, our expression, tastemakers, what's cool and whatever. So to ask people to not try to profit from the biggest thing in the community, to me, I keep saying it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to leave the thing you have the most impact in to simply try to be like other demographics. Hey, I want to be like the Jewish people and be bankers. We want to be lawyers and bankers. Well, there's already a demographic that has the monopoly on that. And even in its entertainment, there's obviously every demographic works in entertainment or in media or whatever, but there's only one demographic that has this much of an impact on it. Honorable says, do they want us to pretend we immigrants in America? Do they believe that would motivate some of us? Well, I heard a clip of multiple people that always said, even Umar, he got a lot of flack when he was asked the questions about hard workers and people ambition, whatever, from certain demographics, quote unquote black or melanated demographics. He brought up the Nigerians, and there's a report that just came out of a woman, Nigerian woman. She's into tech, and she got exposed for fraud, having a whole fraud scheme. And it's like, why can't we say that that's part of their culture? Like every time that demographic, not a lot of times should I say, it's for scamming or some sort, we can't say that whatever ambition you say is within their culture leads to scamming. But anyway. So hold on, let me this. So in the entertainment thing, when we talk about entertainment, in particular hip hop, unfortunately, something that dominates society and really globally impacts everything. We don't quote unquote own it. On the individual label, you have a few artists that own their publishing or their masters or whatever, but in general, they removed all of the gatekeepers. They moved them out of the way. All the people that were meant to make sure certain integral things stayed in place. So now it's just a money printing machine for other demographics, particularly the tiny hats. So now it's led to this. Timbaland's new artist is young, photogenic, and not human. A startup launched by a producer is introducing AI-generated artist, Tata. Now, a few years ago, when a record label had a white AI rapper that looked like 6ix9ine, there was backlash. They say that they was making a mockery of black people and black art and black music. How do you do this? This is not something we participate in. But here come Timbaland going to go get an Asian AI artist. Legendary producer Timbaland has taken the fervent embrace of AI music production to a new level, launching a new AI entertainment company, Stage Zero, and AI-generated artist Tata, who will be dropping a debut single soon. Timbaland, who co-founded the company with his current creative partner, who is, I'm not even going to say the name, I'm going to leave it alone, and the producer, Rocky. Timbaland's also the person, along with Swiss Beats, who started something that was that was supported by the people. I'm talking about Versus. And in the first chance they got, they sold it. And we ain't heard from it since. It went from Instagram to whatever that app was called. Then they said they wouldn't get their money. They was getting robbed of money, got out of that contract, and then they did a deal with Twitter or X that never came to fruition. Haven't heard nothing from it. Honestly, they're using him as a launching pad to get this shit off. But he don't got the culture that's already been proven with a little music show. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Timbaland, as far as production, the last time I've heard somebody use a Timbaland beat was J. Cole's last album. Then it was 2021, 2022? I don't think it was 28. I had like 2020 something. J. Cole's last album, he had a Timbaland produced beat that he did on stream. Timbaland ain't been considered that hot. So Timbaland is clearly doing things in music that I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do in 2005. I'm not saying he need the money, but it's clear he doesn't have the cultural equity anymore. So he's doing anything at this point. And I agree with Honorable. They're definitely using him. And I don't artist. I would assume this artist, based off how she looks, is not going to be a quote unquote hip hop artist. It's going to be more pop AI artist. I want to know. And when they do this AI, because AI at this point is still a creation from a human. It doesn't make itself. So when you make these characters, you still have to compare it to something else. So you have to make it sound like something. So it's still gonna sound like an actual human that actually exists, some famous artist. So how do you get around? What if this artist sounds like Lady Gaga or something? Even though it's not her, they didn't purpose to make it sound like her. Can she sue for that? Even if it's not quite on purpose? Honestly, he definitely needed money. I don't want to say that because they sold Versus and they got a couple mil. Unless he had some debt he had to pay, taxes. I don't know. But because let me show this. Amazon-backed AI model would try to years get off in tests. Opus 4 would resort to extremely harmful actions to preserve its own existence, a safety report revealed. This is an AI that has self-awareness, according to them at least. The company behind the Amazon-backed AI model revealed a number of concerning findings from its testing process, including that the AI would blackmail engineers who threatened to shut it down. On Thursday, artificial intelligence startup, an AI model used for complex, long-running coding tasks. The launch came more than a year after Amazon invested $4 billion into the project, said its announcement that the AI model sets new standards for coding, advanced reasoning, and AI agents. Every year now, for the last 4 or 5 years, we have these people that's working with this stuff, and they keep putting out information saying that they should stop. They keep creating, and they keep telling themselves something is going wrong and we should stop, and they continue still. Honestly, there's an actual singer behind the character. That's how it was for the white rapper. That's what I'm saying. So let's say this whatever, I don't know what she is, white, Asian, I don't know. So she's behind this artist, but they want the aesthetic of the AI character. However this AI character look, I showed it. They wanted to look like that. They want to build a fake story and life around this AI character. But the person that's actually singing is this random woman. So if that AI character was to pop, which it won't, because every time some AI pop up, Wayne new album, my God. Pause for it quick. Lil Wayne, go ahead and take a long break, man. is over. And he had, I'm pretty sure, track 2 on that song, Welcome to the Carter, I'm pretty sure that is AI on that album. And I was listening to a Joe Budden podcast today. I listened to a little bit of that. I listened to the album review. And one of them said, the reason why AI don't sound well because it's not creative. Because in the AI that Wayne used, the woman literally sings "Welcome to the Carter," but it sounds like a 60s or sound like a 70s or 60s R&B sound. But it's not real. So it's like you just took something to say exactly what you wanted it to say. You got rid of half the creativity. Part of flipping a song is making a hook or an old song say what you wanted to say in a different context. That's the creativity about flipping a song. When you just get AI to say it, it just, yeah, and it wasn't a very good album. I mean, you know, and I grew up, Wayne was the greatest. No matter how old I get, I still have the nostalgia of listening to, you know, the Droughts and No Ceilings and Carter 2, Carter 3. So it's still nostalgia there, but at this point, go ahead and AI can't save you either, man. Regina, how you doing? Happy Saturday, beautiful people. Duke in the chat. Miss y'all. Will watch on replay. Enjoy your strong end and press play to refresh on Monday. All right, how you have a good one, Regina. You still could, I don't know, say it's trash. It is, but they still continue even though they say that there's dangers in this AI thing. Now let me show this right quick.
This is wild. I'm AI generated by VO3. Nothing is real anymore.
This is AI right here. And if you look at this and how this looked, say, in 2023, how they're able to do hair, simulate hair, mouth movements, blinking, how the eyes are able to focus on the actual camera that it's supposed to be looking into, how they're able to do background versus foreground with blur and all that other stuff. It's getting to a point where, and there's, as I already said, there's plenty of Instagram and X and Facebook accounts that are AI, that people just don't know it, but it's AI. It's not a real person. It's a bot, as they call them now. It's just a bot. But it's more sophisticated because it can respond, it can ask questions, it can argue back and forth with you, and it can do it within a certain dialect. Like if you go on ChatGPT or Gronk on X and type in "sound like this," I said it a couple months ago when I asked Gronk to write a story about 2 black people in space, and it talked about, you know, the aliens and how the alien wanted to learn how to have soul, how to dance and do. It was like, what? I gave it none of that context, and it created it on its own. Obviously, it gathered this from the internet, but it did it so quickly, and it was impressive. The other sad part is when stuff like this come out, the first thing they say that it's going to affect is the online sex workers. Because if you got these AI characters that look this real, it's going to be a point where they're going to be competing with the AI women at some point. Arnold says he was done after those Black Lives Matter comments. I don't know why y'all hope for his music. I like that I can't feel my face mixtapes. The Wayne album wasn't great. There are about 3 or 4 songs where you go, okay, this sounds like, but Welcome to the Carter, even though I complained about the AI, I think is on it. It sounds like Wayne. It sounds like rapping Wayne over a soulful beat. No auto-tune. Well, I'm pretty sure you use some auto-tune, but not too much auto-tune or whatever. And he had a few of those songs that people are clowning that's just typical Wayne type of rock or emo songs that he's done in the past that kind of work sometimes. Like I didn't hate that I am Not a Human Being album. I didn't hate it. Ain't something I go back to all the time, but there's a few songs in there I like. So, you know, it's sad when you see somebody who you really, as a child, especially as you grew up, you was your favorite artist, and everything he put out you thought was the best ever. And then you get to a certain age where their music didn't grow with you, and he still sounds like he's rapping about the same thing from 2009. It's like, bruh, how many women, like, we get it. We get it, bruh. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. Let's go further into this. A quick story about this. But Pharmaceuticals to buy 23andMe and its data for $256 million. So I told y'all they was going bankrupt. They were trying to sell it. They came out with the whole scare tactic, scared that China was going to be the ones that buy it, but it was never going to happen. They were just trying to raise the price. So $256 million for your private DNA. All right. What else we got? Oh, one more thing on this. OpenAI's smartest AI model was explicitly told to shut down, and it refused. An artificial intelligence safety firm has found that OpenAI's O3 and O4 mini models sometimes refuse to shut down and will sabotage computer scripts in order to keep working on tasks. All right. Well, you were warned. You were warned. What's this? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. What is this? Oh, yeah. Let me show this. So this right here is another one of these Asian kids who was a tech guy who didn't get into the college he wanted to get into. Remember, they went after affirmative action, said it was being racist to them and discriminated against Asian Americans who were more qualified than the black people that were getting in. Well, they got rid of it. The amount of black students accepted to these colleges dropped significantly. And they're still not getting in because now they're losing their position, at least the position they think they deserve. Not only are they losing it to the legacy admissions in these campuses that they didn't complain about, they're also losing it to, other Asians, and they're still complaining. Craig said, well, since the AI has a mind of its own, when will we expose the elites? AI has self-awareness and develops a conscience, but you have to program a conscience. Will they make the conscience more appearing to be quote unquote a good person, or will it make it or will they program them to be wicked? I don't know. And if they develop their own personalities, where do they get it from? Because if you go one of these chat GPT or whatever, if you go one of them and have a philosophical conversations with them, most of the time they take on the thoughts of some thought leader in the past. So we'll see. They'll shut it. They'll find out. They'll make sure that doesn't happen. Anonymous says, sounds like tech dudes trying to make sure they have a job security. Well, that ain't really what this story is. As this person right here says, Stanley Zong had a 4.42 GPA and a 1590 SAT and ranked in the top 1% of the U.S. Computing Olympiad Platinum. He built a free e-signing platform, reached the semifinals of Google Code Jam, and placed second MIT's Battle Code. Still, 15 of 18 colleges rejected him, including Stanford, MIT, and a few others. But numbers aside, what's the most striking is hearing that Stanley himself, in a clip below, you will see a thoughtful, humble young man who even admits he didn't expect to get into every top school, but he went on TV to complain. How's that humble? But anyway, I'm gonna play a little bit of this.
Thought, I had a good chance, and it turns out, however good of a chance I had, I didn't get in.
Okay, well, let's just share your statistics because I know that factors into college admissions, right?
And you notice that this Asian woman at ABC made sure to interview this Asian student. They've been trying to take over the colleges for the last 25 years now.
Your GPA and SAT score?
GPA was 4.42 weighted.
Weighted.
SAT score was 1590.
Okay, and in fact, I think we have that on a graphic just so folks can see that.
So basically, I didn't even got to listen to the rest of it. Craig said the bullshit them Africans helped that boy. They think we're supposed to forget that, by the way. We're supposed to forget those Congolese and Ghanaian students over there that's doing the homework of these Asian kids, getting them into these Ivy League colleges. We're supposed to forget. We're supposed to just give all the credit to these Asians still. But, I guess we got to just let it slide. But I saw somebody say in the comments of this post, and I thought it was really good. They said he's a typical Asian tech guy at a college that wants to go to one of these high prestigious colleges. He's not anything different. Colleges are not supposed to allow you in because you have good grades. They're supposed to let people in who are different, who strive, who have ambitious, creative people. And I saw people in the comments saying, no one wants a loner Asian kid who's antisocial on campus. It's going to be boring. You're not supposed to go to college just to say you're not supposed to be accepted just because your scores were good. Well, they always say, what is your written letter? What did you say? What's your story? Did you do anything, humanitarian stuff around the city or your state? Did you travel to other countries and help the poor, the needy? What did you do to get in? Did you just take tests? That ain't enough. So the question became, what is the purpose of college? And is computer engineering or the tech side of schooling, should that be should they be taken out of certain colleges and placed into trade schools? Because at this point, coding is a trade. It's no longer it's no longer what it used to be. Coding is a trade at this point. It's just the same thing as those engineering degrees pretty much print money. You're guaranteed a certain amount of money. It's like a plumber. It's like a electrician. It's not you can start learning how to code in your early teens. It's not, completely out of place. But I saw them saying that those people should not be on college campuses. And the reason why society is the way it is now, even though I kind of disagree somewhat, but I agree with the one part of they've taken the creativity out of colleges and the idea of when you go to college, what they tell us when I was in high school, college campuses is supposed to be young people with strong opinions. And they meet other people with differing strong opinions. And you're supposed to talk about those different opinions. Even if you don't agree with them, you're supposed to be able to talk about it. That's not really what college is anymore. And it's more groupthink and social programming. Even though I know the American school system is based off of the Prussian system, which is, communist, but pretty much a communist system. But it's supposed to be a way for you to go somewhere to think with other people, critically think, and come to conclusions without everybody just having to agree. And it's kind of not that anymore, especially when you start getting to the gender ideologies and the sexuality stuff. The social stuff is where it goes left. Arnold says they need to start some K-pop bands so they can add it to the application. I want to show some of these, actually. Hold on. They were kicking this back in. They sick of them Asians. Sounds like he's not focused on schooling and is more focused on elite association. Makes sense why they rejected him, but of course he's going to bitch, moan, and cry about how unfair it is that these institutions would rather want someone that wants to be there to go there. By the way, he works for Google. So if I'm a dean or I'm somebody who's in charge of this, why would I accept someone who already has a job making well over 6 figures? They're not going to stay all 4 years. They just want this on their resume so that when he started a platform, which means he has an idea for a company. He's going to use us as a bullet point on his resume, like Bill Gates, so that he can get investors. No, we want somebody that's actually going to graduate and become a donor back to the school, which is why you have legacy admissions, because those people typically have parents that put hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars back into the school, especially a place like Harvard, which is the richest institution on the planet. Stanley, you're a bot. You're one of the thousands who have similar, if not better stats. Same story. Your parents birthed you for this, and the colleges know it. You have no soul. You would add next to nothing unique to the student body. You're just not special. This one said, black people told you that Asians who helped overturn affirmative action that you'd regret it. Get used to not getting into Ivy League schools. You literally helped the racist white man open the doors to more unqualified whites. Legacy students. They don't even have to read your application. Don't have a reason at all either. So, and it's also led to other things, because once again, being in 3 weeks, I missed out on a lot of stuff. There was a conversation a few weeks back. I think I even talked about this, actually. I might have did talk about this. But they were talking about why black men aren't in HBCUs in colleges. Why is the number so low at this point? Almost says, what's the point of them all going to the Ivy League schools? They're doing nothing with the connections. Well, typically most agents are in and at least in America, they're never CEOs. Their ethnic or cultural personalities are very much perfect one thing and then just monetize it. Hold on. Oh yeah, but yeah, perfect one thing and monetize it. And in America, for the most part, I mean, you see more Indians, even though they're Asians as well. They get placed in CEO positions more than Asians in America. So their connections they make are more so that they're like a factory, and they're constantly, like I said, they're constantly trying to replicate the Bill Gates example. Once you hear some tech bro or billionaire say, "I didn't graduate college," that became that was their version of the hip hop artist talking about the streets and selling drugs. When a hip hop artist started bragging about being on the streets and selling drugs and beating the game, and now I got this money and I'm legit. That's the same thing when the tech people heard Bill Gates and all those guys say, "I didn't graduate college." Now all of them want to go to the top Ivy League school, or at least get accepted, stay for a semester or two, and then drop out and go look for donors for their new business that already exists. Another variation of something that already exists. Now I want to show this. So Donald Trump had a couple pardons he did a few weeks ago. He pardoned a few people. He pardoned Larry Hoover, NBA YoungBoy, and what's the reality show? I know these for a reason. The Christies, isn't this their name? And when the Christies is funny because when he got out, the man, they went to jail for some type of fraud or tax evasion or something. Both of them went to prison. They got pardoned. He got out and started talking about how he was treated like a god in there, but unfortunately, the black men in there were treated like dogs or whatever. And how he's gonna try to do something with prison reform and yada yada yada. And then NBA YoungBoy, he was pardoned. The rapper who's been on house arrest for like 10 years. It seemed like he finally, I think he's off house arrest now. He's supposed to be going on tour soon. So people were talking about these pardons and how Trump is pardoning these celebrities and how this is strange. I said, well, presidents have been doing this forever. If you knew who they was pardoning back then behind the scenes, how many Wall Street people and other politicians and these business people they were pardoning behind the scenes, these little celebrity pardons wouldn't be a big deal. But Larry Hoover was pardoned. Does Trump set him free with this? And they became the same conversation that popped up when Big Meech was released, which is, should we celebrate people who brought such destruction to our community? Obviously, Larry Hoover, the leader and creator of the Gangster Disciples, I believe, was obviously now in Chicago, especially, is very much responsible for a lot of the crime and murders that exist there. Although for the last couple of decades, he's been in there since 78 or something, 72, something like that. He went in for murder originally, and then in like 98, 97, he got hit with a RICO charge and conspiracy, all the other stuff, and he ended up getting a couple, like 140 years or something. And Trump pardoning him does not release him. It only gets rid of his Fed case, but the state is still there. Hoover's federal sentence is one of the number granted by Trump, but the former gang leader is still serving a 200-year state sentence for murder. And I want to read this right here. Bishop Talbot Swan, I disagree with him on some things, but I want to read this because it perfectly says what I'm thinking. I'm going to say something that shouldn't be controversial, but it is. Larry Hoover is not a political prisoner. Let's be clear. The Gangster Disciples have terrorized black communities for nearly 60 years through murder, drug trafficking, extortion, and the destruction of countless lives. There is nothing redemptive or revolutionary about that legacy. I'm not arguing as to whether Mr. Hoover has been rehabilitated or deserves a second chance. I am arguing that making him into a hero and a political prisoner that likes the former Black Panthers and former Black Liberation Army members is dead wrong. Donald Trump didn't pardon Larry Hoover out of compassion, principle, or justice. He did it to pander, which he did to multiple demographics. He didn't just pardon a few black people to pander to them. He pardoned a few white people to pander to them. He does everything. Everything he does is to touch different audiences of what he figured would be his base. He tries to quiet the storm with a few people. Because when this first came out, people immediately thought, oh, that means he's thinking about pardoning Derek Chauvin, the killer of, I forget his name. Thank God I finally ain't seen his name in a while. I actually forgot it. George Floyd. People are thinking he probably thinking about pardoning him, but I don't think so. Plain and simple, pander to a segment of the black community enamored with the folklore of gang leaders, misled by celebrity endorsements from people like Kanye West. And no, Chance the Rapper, Larry Hoover is not some Malcolm or Mandela. He didn't suffer under the system for fighting for black people. He preyed on them. He didn't build our communities. He helped bleed them dry. Yes, we have every reason to distrust a racist and unjust criminal justice system that has caged far too many of our people for simply being black. But conflating legitimate resistance with organized crime is dangerous. There are many freedom fighters who deserve justice. Larry Hoover is not one of them. We can and must condemn police violence, mass incarceration, and systemic racism without rewriting the history of gang violence as though it was community activism. That's not liberation, that's confusion. Stop turning gangsters into heroes. Our people deserve better. So I don't think, obviously he's not getting out more than likely, but I said the same thing with the Meats thing, even though it turned out very bad for him, how quick the internet just destroyed everything they said about him. He was supposed to have some type of welcome home party that never happened. 50 Cent turned him into a snitch. Didn't end well for Big Meech, but yeah. I'm saying this whole think piece is nothing. I think it is a big deal. Like I said, I'm late on this, but there were a lot of people making it seem like anybody who's been in prison, especially from the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that anybody who was into the streets, that they was dealt a raw hand and shouldn't be in prison as long as they were. It's like, wait, Larry Hoover wasn't some dude that got locked up for shooting a cop in 69. That ain't what happened. This was a man who was criminal. Like, it is what it is. Whether he was a criminal by circumstance or just willing participant, either way, it is what it is. Let me jump to something else. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to wait till next week to get into this. I need more on this. Yeah, I need more on this.
Mission Impossible.
Speaking of, yeah, I'm gonna wait on that. All right, definitely gonna stay. I'm not gonna stay on this long. I'm sick of this Diddy trial. I'm not gonna stay on this long. List of celebrities mentioned in Diddy trial was said. They went through all the people. Most of the people that were only listed in here because of the story that Cassie was telling. I ain't gotta go through this too long. I do want to say this though. They finally brought in the Jane Doe, who turned out to be 50 Cent's baby mama. And she told what was going on, yada, yada, the sex parties and the parties that Diddy want her to do and stuff. And I said, I wonder how much this is going to impact how people view 50 Cent. Because 50 Cent's been going hard on Diddy for a long time, obviously. Him and Jay-Z. But it has to be pointed out that the man who's been going at me the hardest in all this, I just so happen to have his baby mama as a concubine in my house, where she's willing to lay with 3 men at a time to please me, to pay her rent or whatever. Like, I'm sorry. As much as we call, 50 Cent some petty king and troll or whatever, the fact that all these years, Diddy doesn't really say much about 50 Cent publicly at all, because behind the scenes, I'm doing something that's burning your soul. Like, you can't get around that. No matter how much you come in public and say my name and accuse me of all this stuff, behind the scenes the last couple of years, I've had your baby mama laid up in my house like a concubine. Like, just stop talking. Anima says, it's so boring. He never touched the other man, and Cassie ain't tell us what all her was doing with the other man's body fluid. Yeah, I think after the first week, the public was kind of over it because it's the same story over and over with every person. It's like, all right, we get it. He was abusive. He was a freaked out dude who liked to play with other men's semen. Like I still don't see the not RICO, the racketeering and all the other stuff, but it is what it is. They probably improved their case already. There was force with violence towards Cassie and a few others. He used his businesses to hire people to clean these places up, so it's going to be considered a racketeering. It is what it is. I agree. After the first week and a half, it was kind of boring. It's the same story over and over, and at some point, it's like all y'all accepted this, and the same question gets asked: why didn't you call the police? And they just don't. They just say the typical, "Oh, I was scared," or "I needed the money," or whatever. It's like, all right, man. So all y'all saw him doing all this stuff, and nobody called the cops ever. I'm burnt out on it. We'll see though. I've heard some of his supporters, lawyers and stuff, saying that this is not looking the worst for him. They don't know if he gets free, but it is. By the way, in this trial, they kind of exposed that Mike Myers might be some type of agent, CIA. They did interview. They came in here during the intense cross-examination. Mia told the court that she had previously worked with Myers, the secretary. She said that she handled all unique requests for Mr. Myers, including setting up a private and confidential tour of the CIA. She did this by corresponding with Secret Service agents and government officials. And I just said, how do you have access to Secret Service agents and government officials? It's true. Myers really did take a tour of the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, back in 2008. Now, 2009, I'm sorry. And this immediately made people think about the fact that it was Mike Myers standing next to Kanye West when he said, Bill, what's his name? George Bush doesn't care about black people. And now I'm hearing people say that if you watch the original taping of that, what happened, he actually said George Bush hates black people. So you got the conspiracy theories out there now saying that there was a retaping of that whole thing where he says George Bush doesn't care about black people. I don't know. Anonymous says, domestic violence aside, what did he do that was bad? I'm still confused. He was just freaked out. I agree. The domestic violence, Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi was scared to get the beats, even though he said he was dating Cassie, and Cassie kind of set him up, giving his address to Diddy. Diddy went in his house and opened up his presents and put his dog in the closet of the bathroom or something. He said he wanted to fight. Diddy said, let's go. He called the cops instead. Said he blew up his car with a Molotov cocktail. It's like, can't prove that part, but I don't know. I agree. I don't understand if you just go based off the Mann Act, which is him having people move across borders or state lines for sex, for money, it is what it is, but I don't know. Definitely gotta get to this. Hold on, y'all. Because this might be the real Rock Nation kryptonite. And says Cudi whole testimony should have been thrown out. Him and what's the Dawn woman? I forgot her name already. Both of them were unnecessary. I get the point that we're trying to put the character of Diddy into question, but we already know. We saw it on tape. We already know he was abusive. Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez denies allegation in daughter's detainment lawsuit. So, as y'all know, CEO of Rock Nation, Desiree Perez, who was once a drug mule in the 80s, got turned state, snitched, became an informant, and then started working with Jay-Z. She's been around Jay since the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, one of those. Maybe even sooner than that. But her daughter apparently sued her and put a RICO on her, basically, saying that her mother has been doing things to try and get her to divorce or leave her husband. I had to look up her husband and found out her husband is, I don't know if he's black, but he's a man of darker hue. I'll say that. And so I found this funny that the Spanish woman is accusing this man of abusing her daughter, even though her daughter is telling her he's not abusing me. What are you talking about? So basically had her daughter, I can just go through it. Hold on. Let me just do this right quick. Desiree Perez faces laser backlash last year over a Super Bowl halftime show selection, which she is close to as Roc Nation CEO. I don't know what that has to do with the story, but all right. Desiree Perez co-founded Roc Nation back in 2008 and has a long but lauded path becoming a company CEO. However, now she faces heavy allegations from her daughter, according to a new report from NBC6 South Florida. Her daughter sued her for allegedly using unlawful means to have her falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Merchant Act. She's CEO of Roc Nation. We know. She claims she spent 2 weeks in multiple mental health institutions for no clear or legitimate reason. She submitted medical records and body cam footage of mobile crisis unit, urging her to get in a gray pickup truck. Later, a doctor mentally evaluated her and claimed her family, including her mother and aunt, allegedly that she tried to overdose the night before. This reminded me a lot of Kanye West. Remember when the so-called therapist, whatever he was following Kanye around in Dubai and stuff, and everybody, why is he following him? What are you doing? This reminds me of that. And it also reminds me, maybe unnecessarily, of the Rihanna Chris Brown situation for some reason. It reminds me of Tory and Meg, of people being able to make certain things move a certain way, to look a certain way. Like she's doing things. I'm sorry, hold on, y'all. All right, I'm back. Craig said, oh my. Anima says, I don't believe the daughter story. If her mother had all the surveillance on her, as she's claiming, why would they only submit the one little domestic violent video? I don't know. I just know that there's a lot of people that's using this. Because, Roc Nation been under a lot of turmoil in the public opinion, especially when it comes to the Tory Meg situation, the Kendrick getting the Super Bowl, how they said that what Roc Nation is doing is affecting Nicki and Drake somehow. I don't know. So they're using anything that is negatively looked at on Roc Nation as a win in the public. So I don't know. I do agree. If she had that much surveillance on you, she would have proof of all-out violence, of him just flat out beating on you, whether it's just physical violence or verbal. It is what it is. But she showed her evidence. Maybe she didn't show her whole hand. Maybe she didn't give everything up immediately. We'll see. We'll see how that crisis management team that belonged to Roc Nation is pretty good though. So we'll see how they spin this story.
Taking legal.
Let me play it. Matter of fact, let me play some of this. Makes Tor. Anima says, y'all got to stop with the Troy campaign. He was offered 2 years. He continued to attack Megan, claiming she didn't get shot. I agree. He was stupid. He was not even on trial for what he was talking about. It was, did you have a gun? Did you fire a gun as a felon? All right. So, but they still fighting. Even with the Republicans. You got people in office that's coming to Tory's defense now, saying they're going to release new evidence, even though the evidence they released was kind of old, but it is what it is. Although they did show the star witness, that when the person who turned out to be the star witness that kind of put Tory under, his initial comments were that he saw the two girls fighting and that the girl fired the gun, not Tory. So they might got something there. But anyway.
Action after she says she spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason.
She claims in a recently filed lawsuit that it was orchestrated by her own mother, and others who should have protected her failed her.
NBC6 investigative reporter Amy Viteri has her story.
So legally, I can't go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker acted.
Body camera video shows the moments Broward deputies encouraged Demore Hadley to get into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can't ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs, so dog's not going to be able to come?
I don't want to be in handcuffs.
Okay.
Demore says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demore, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demore falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of Rock Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z.
The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demore and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demore filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demore's husband, Javon. Citing evidence, Perez says he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Desiree Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs.
I haven't seen anything in my entire 20 years of practicing law that it is so clear that someone did something wrong.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demore in the lawsuit, which claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue.
The state attorney's office wrote a 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police.
In this closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demore's lack of cooperation and raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained. The prosecutor also wrote Demore was wrongfully Baker Acted last year, something her mother's attorney disputes in this letter challenging many of the memo's other conclusions.
I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say that she's been acting psychotic, that she threatened to overdose yesterday.
Demore's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with prominent psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, seen here in body camera video, and others to have Demore committed for a mental health evaluation.
It's believable. I'm just saying that this video was edited. They need to post everything with no edits. Well, this is supposed to be just a synopsis, but it's a bit long, so I'm not going to put the whole thing. Y'all get the point. I will say this, though. If you have a daughter who you believe is being abused, how far will you go to prove it? That's a part of this. We could point out the whole salacious part of it, or surveillance, the forcing somebody into mental health situations and all that stuff. That's a problem. But also, there's motherhood or parenthood that's here. So it is what it is. We'll see if it goes anywhere. Like I said, they're able to spin it somehow. Quick story, not gonna stay on this at all, but I think it is kind of crazy. Family, I know y'all know about the boots on the ground thing that's going on. People been talking about it for months. The whole dance they have going on. Here's an example of it here, I think. Hold on. Is this it?
Hey, Emma Shirley. Hey, DC
So I didn't know who this was because I didn't keep that close tabs on it. I just kept seeing in this boots on the ground thing the name Miss Shirley. I figured it was some woman, older woman, who created the dance or something. Turns out this Miss Shirley is a little girl. So people immediately started accusing the family of trying to profit off this little girl and exploiting her. So family of viral sensation Miss Shirley faces backlash for meet and greets events. The meet and greet events is where it got real crazy. What do y'all think of grown-ass people going to a meet and greet to meet up? What is she? Let me see how old. Let me make sure I know how old she is. 4-year-old. So a grown man is going to a meet and greet to meet a 4-year-old girl. That's strange. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say leave that family alone. These men don't need to be picking her up. But other than that, leave them alone. That's showbiz. I have no problem with the little girl. From what I saw, she has a coordination. She can dance. So clearly that's a talent that she has to be 4 years old with that level of coordination. That's something she can pursue in the future, be a dancer. There's no problem with that. Especially even if she's able to profit from it for her family so she can live a better life. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Especially it's innocent, really. It's innocent. But I do have a problem with you doing meet and greets. There is no reason to do meet and greets at all. It'd be different if you had these meet and greets and the point was for your 4-year-old to meet other kids who dance. So you got another kid who do this boots on the ground dance and y'all get together and let the kids dance together and do, whatever. That's different. As a grown adult, why are you going to see a 4-year-old? And as Arnold brought up with the man picking her up, that was even crazier. Let me show this. Look at this. That's strange. And I don't be one of those dudes that would have a different opinion if it was grown women being recorded picking them up. I'm pretty sure the women do it too. I think it's crazy either way to let strange adults have that much access to your child. That seems, it ain't my business, but it's being made my business when you're doing it publicly. I have an opinion on it. I'm sorry. Black men warning us of predatory nature of other black men like this is fake outrage for engagement in the algorithm. Nothing. I'm not talking about black men. I'm talking about black adults, men and women. I couldn't find any videos of them bringing up the women picking her up, the little girl. It was only the men they kept pointing out. But I'm trying to make the point, adults, like they didn't even bring kids with them. They came alone to meet a 4-year-old. That's crazy. But hopefully things continue to go well for them. They're able to do something she loves, which is clearly dancing. And hopefully she's able to. The first is his song, and she definitely helped make it popular. Yeah, that's a question I want to ask too. Because there's another woman. There's a woman who created a dance. I found her on YouTube. She has many dance videos. But it's a woman who created a dance. Did he? It's money wise, it's pocket watching, but it is what it is. Did the dude who created the dance, who just put out a video for it like 2 weeks ago, did he cut the woman who created the dance in on the money? Because let's be honest, most people knew about the dance. The dance is what made the song popular. So, and then obviously this little girl apparently even had a big input on how popular the song got. So I would imagine in the next 3 or 4 years, when this all calms down, there's going to be some talk about percentage that didn't get given, possibly. Craig says the boots on the ground stuff just turned into another variant of the gender war. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any gender. Like I said, I haven't paid that much attention to it. I see a video from time to time pop up on my feed, but I haven't paid attention to the people that's a part of it. I know the woman who I think created the dance and the dude who made the song, and I just found out about the Miss Shirley little girl. So I haven't kept track of it. So come to gender war. What happened? Almost says it was a black man that called Child Protective Services on that family. Now that's where Negroes do too much. Negroes definitely be doing too much. I'm like, why are you like? Come on, that's attention seeking. Almost says her dances to the song "Dangerous." A LGBT black man created the boots on the ground dance. He gay? The dude who created song gay? Are we talking about the same dude who's in the music video, right? The little girl made it popular, but the other girl, that's a whole nother song. Oh, okay. I haven't kept up on it. People said the song is so as annoying. Well, that's what happened with something is popular. It just gets overplayed and people say it's annoying. Yeah. Oh man. Speaking of protecting children, let me show this because we're on the topic of control. And as I said, black people, we need to control what's ours in entertainment. And hip hop is one of them. And unfortunately, we have to control. We have to own all the good and the bad. We gotta own it all. So I'm gonna show this. Africa Bambaataa loses child sexual abuse civil case on default judgment. Judge grants John Doe accuser motion, saying the pioneering hip hop artist never showed up in court. Man, the dance. Unfortunately, when we start talking about hip hop, at least what became hip hop in the late 70s and 80s, a lot of the people that were a part of it are leaving stains on it. And this person right here has become pretty much a black eye on particular New York hip hop, but also hip hop in general because that's where it started. He has not been hit with criminal cases, but he's now lost a civil case, and this type of case is kind of crazy. Obviously, I'm pretty sure y'all know about what's his name? What's the light skin? I don't know if he's black, but the light skin dude with the big arms. People make fun of him, call him Popeye. He was one of the first people I seen come out publicly and say Africa Bambaataa molested him. I forgot his name. He a YouTuber. He be going on rants and stuff. He got a lot of subscribers. I forgot his name. It says the dance was created by a gay black dude. The artist ain't gay yet. Oh, ain't gay yet. Man, Hassan Campbell. Thanks, Craig. Yeah, Hassan Campbell was the first person, and I'm not saying he's the first person that said it about Africa Bambaataa, but the first person I saw accuse Africa Bambaataa of sexual abuse was Hassan Campbell, and unfortunately, Hassan Campbell became the butt of every joke when it came to sexual abuse. Mr. Man says Africa Bambaataa is a tether, but Hassan Campbell came out, laid everything bare and said it. And people kind of use it as a punch against him when they disagree with him. Like I'll never forget when Sinful the P, rest in peace to Sinful the P, when he had that back and forth with Hassan Campbell. Well, he said something about Hassan Campbell, he didn't respond, and he called Hassan Campbell sugar thighs. And the reason why he called him that is because Hassan Campbell said the way Africa Bambaataa abused him was not through, penetrating him, but he did stuff with his thigh, as it said like that. And when he made that joke, at the time you laugh, like, oh, that's crazy. But then you look back and you go, man, it's kind of messed up when a man is that vulnerable to try and expose a predator. And instead of everybody coming together and saying, yo, get him the fuck out of here, instead it's like, how old were you when it happened? Like, wait, what? That's crazy. The founder of hip hop. No, he was just a pioneer, as they call him now. Craig says, every time I hear about Hassan Campbell, I think of Sinful the P. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sinful the P, he completely changed people's perception of that man. He was a wordsmith, I'll say that. Definitely was a wordsmith. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, man, this is bad. Like I said, unfortunately, hip hop won't do nothing about it. It'll just be, all right, man, he doing some foul stuff back in the day, but Hassan Campbell will continue to get clowned for it. He used sexual assault to launch his YouTube channel. He's definitely a joke. He didn't, though. I want to say Hassan was already doing videos, wasn't he? Because most of Hassan Campbell's content was him talking against the street code, talking against the thugs in the hood and stuff, or at least not talking against, but preaching integrity from those people. Like, if you're gonna be in the streets 100%. Don't halfway do it. Be loyal, have integrity and stuff. Regardless if you think he lived that stuff, but his message is pretty positive. He called out the hypocrisy of these hip hop artists and their music. He got a lot of them to respond to him, by the way. And every time they respond to him, they bring up Africa Bambaataa. And it's like, come on, that's not funny, man. It's not funny. But anyway, shout out to Hassan Campbell. Speaking of the culture, by the way, y'all see this right here? Hold on. I'm going to get to that Juneteenth J'ouvert in a second. Afrobeat's new groove. Africa's growing diaspora is transforming the continent's musical exports. I'm not going to go into the whole article because I'm setting this up for something. Virginia says, from my observation, the public prefers to protect the predators versus prey in the same way Americans support welfare for the rich, but loathe it for the poor. That's facts. That's facts. They never talk about all the bailouts these banks get. They never talk about all the bailouts these corporations get when they do stuff they shouldn't be doing. Hell, 2008, you had people shorting companies like crazy and end up blowing up in everybody's faces, and yet they're the ones that get protected. And then you have the average person that's losing their home and all this other stuff, and they get no bailout. But welfare is the problem. But anyway, so when I read through some of this, in this they pretty much was saying how Afrobeat is influencing quote unquote global culture. You know how in hip hop, one of the big things that hip hop started doing early on was they would make references to pop culture in the music, whether it be a movie, TV show, an actor, another rapper. And by doing that, it became a normal thing to incorporate names within hip hop. So if something happened with Donald Trump was a good example. Donald Trump was referenced many times in hip hop. And there are plenty of other people, all the actors you could think of. So now apparently Afrobeats is doing that. And they're saying how this is having a global impact on the world because it's shifting culture. And it just reminded me so much of what they're trying to do with hip hop. So I just want to read this first little part. So a Nigerian rapper and singer put out his first single called Declan Rice after the English footballer. So like somebody making a song called Michael Jordan or LeBron, like Benny the Butcher. The track saw a fresh surge in streams in April when Mr. Rice scored 2 free kicks for Arsenal in a tense match against Real Madrid. On the record, the artist brought up whatever. We get the point. I'm saying this to say, I noticed and I said this before, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I said this before. The same thing I said with not dance hall. Yeah, dance hall pretty much. The Jamaican music. I forgot what it's even called. How when Sean Paul got popular and when that sound got popular is when they started to incorporate R&B into the sound. And now I'm seeing it with Afrobeat. How a lot of these Afrobeat artists are going away from their traditional sound in their countries, whether it be Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Congo, Zambia. They're going away from their traditional sound, and they're now copying Black American sound. They're putting the influence of hip hop is being put in there, R&B, jazz, and their sound is becoming more quote unquote. It's becoming more appealing to the global masses because it's incorporating African American or Black American sounds. Honorable says, people shame African Americans for entertainment, but look at how Africans and Koreans are getting praised for copying African American sounds, influencing global. We must never forget Nigerians are crafting this narrative. And that's a good point too, because when K-pop or all these other sounds go big, it's celebrated as a cultural thing and everybody's listening to it to enjoy it. But with Black people, it's just a different type of critique. What up, Mark? How you going? How you doing, man? How you doing? Says there was never a traditional sound. It was initially copied jazz. Well, maybe so, but at least they used their drum pattern. If that makes sense. Like every ethnic group has a different rhythm. It's natural. Like I remember years ago, an African dude did I think it was a TikTok maybe, where he did the drum rhythm of each demographic. Yeah, I'm doing fine, Mark. I'm doing fine. Where he did he replicated every demographic, every quote unquote Black demographics rhythm beat. And I feel like they're abandoning their natural rhythm and copying what Black Americans have done. If you look at how they dance versus Black Americans, they dance to it's a different rhythm, it's a different beat. It is what it is, it's natural, but they're changing their sound a lot to appear to a bigger bigger masses. That's why I respect one. I'm not saying I don't respect these artists, because I don't listen to them, but I'm not saying I don't respect them. But there's one that I do respect, which is that WizKid dude. That WizKid dude sticks to Nigerian sound. He's a Nigerian Afrobeat artist. I respect that. Honorable says African traditional rhythm is on par with Europeans not being able to dance on the beach. This shit sounds terrible. So speaking of rhythm and changing your beat, one thing that happened, and I'm glad that a lot of fires on his ass for this, as it should be, and it is this right here. No, not this one, I'm sorry. This right here. So there's a dude out in Florida who's hosting an event. And he calls the event Juneteenth J'ouvert, or J'ouvert, I don't know how they say it. And it pissed a lot of people off, as it should. And then I want to show, I hope I got the promo video that he did. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, here it go. Shout out to 9 Human Media too. This is the promo he did from the last J'ouvert Juneteenth.
With the venue owner, with the promoter, with the venue owner, with the promoter. Yeah, that guy have a white face.
So when I saw this, I immediately thought, like everybody else, what the hell does this got to do with Juneteenth? So you have a people that decided, that found another way to include themselves in something that has nothing to do with them. This is not a situation where he decided he wanted to celebrate Juneteenth. He's born in America. He just wants to party on that day, but it's going to be Juneteenth out, Juneteenth flag, yada yada yada. Instead, it's really just a carnival with the word Juneteenth over it. So now it looks like you're trying to use the Juneteenth. And once again, I'm one of those people that was against Juneteenth becoming a national holiday, really, because it becomes commercialized and this is the type of stuff that happens. But you took a real thing and just took the name of it and put that name over something you already do to try and use the attention from that to garner it for your cause, for your movement, for your traditional celebration. It's disrespectful as hell. And when people told him, hey, this is disrespectful, he acted like people are going out of their way to be xenophobic or attacking him or something. It just made no sense. Honestly, is that the devil in that poster? I forgot the name. I wish I remember the name. It's a character that they play. Matter of fact, hold on. In J'ouvert, a Caribbean carnival tradition, devil characters like Job Job devils and Molasses devils play a prominent role. These characters are part of the street theater and masquerade aspect of the celebration, often covered in black oil and pitch oil and carrying chains. They represent a form of rebellion and defiance, embodying themes of empowerment and resistance. Now, originally, that's not true. Carnival comes from I want to say France. I want to say the French. Might be wrong about it. Was it I think so. The original one. So they kind of took it and, I don't want to say bastardized it, but they kind of did and turned it into this so-called mocking of the slave owners, as they said. Mark Gordon said they're trying to make money of our culture. And that's really the disrespectful part. They did it. They've been doing it since it became a national holiday, where they host these events that has nothing to do with Juneteenth to make a quick dollar. It's a lack of respect. And then this person wrote an article on it, though. I think this person is a friend of the dude who's hosting the event, who I think is Jamaican. I think he's Jamaican. But that's what they said. When cultures collide, a Black American's take on the the Juneteenth J'ouvert debate. When one of my best friends, who I should note is a proud Jamaican American, posted a flyer for his second annual Juneteenth J'ouvert in Orlando, the backlash he received was swift, fierce, disgusting, and as usual, sparked another deplorable diaspora war. As a Black American, I understood why people were frustrated. However, as his friend, I also understood that his intentions were in no way malicious. Still, this moment did make for me realize something we need to talk. We need to talk as a diaspora about how we honor our different but deeply intertwined cultures and histories, especially when it comes to Juneteenth. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Pretty much was him saying what Juneteenth is, what J'ouvert is, and how we, as Black Americans, we need to make space. We got to make space for other people to celebrate with us. Now, this don't make sense to me, because now you're telling me I need to change my culture to accommodate other people. But you're not saying that I need these people to allow these people to be at the traditional parties or whatever. You're saying that I need to allow them to bring their culture to mine. Pretty much what he's saying in all this. J'ouvert, I can skip that. Someone who has deeply valued the sacredness of Juneteenth and his close ties to friends from and or descent from the Caribbean, I don't believe that we have to choose between solemn remembrance and joyful expression. Why would you call Black American celebration solemn remembrance? We have something called a cookout. We express ourselves in fun time. We just don't bring people around our grandma to shake ass. Like, it is what it is. Because this day celebrates independence, or more appropriately, the emancipation of Black American ancestors from slavery. I do not believe that on this occasion we have to lead with reverence of what that day honors before reverie. There are ways to make a space for both, but that can only happen by acknowledging that Juneteenth is a uniquely Black American holiday born of our ancestors' long unfinished struggles in this country. Yeah, man. Arnold says, I hate these neutral goofies. Agreed. Craig says more integration talk. That's what it is. And I'm glad you said that. In America, really for a long time now, Black America attempted to integrate with the rest of the country, but obviously we were treated as second-class citizens, so that didn't happen. So now we have this thing where we have a stand strong thing where we don't even attempt to integrate with other people. But we also don't make people integrate with us. Even though the only time you see somebody who's Black American try and force another demographic to conform to our culture is when we're kids. So when you're in a school, when you're in elementary school, middle school, whatever, even high school, you'll hear certain things from kids that really is just them trying to force other people to assimilate, to integrate with the rest of what we'll be doing. So if you're a Haitian, Jamaican, Trinidadian, whatever, and you come to school dressed a certain way, eating certain food, you're going to get joked on because you're different, which is the point of culture. We joke in our culture, but also that's a defense mechanism to make you understand that you're doing something that we don't do. So you either going to stop doing that or we're going to keep joking on you for doing it. Arnold says, ain't no both. These people are the problem. Yeah, so we're coming at a time where there's going to be either you're going to integrate or that delineation is going to force you to completely separate. There's going to be no middle ground. Ain't going to be no, I'm Caribbean, but I was born in America, so I can celebrate. But no, you're going to have to completely integrate, finally, or completely separate. I want to show something else. Because apparently he took off the picture from his event calendar. It's still up, but you can't see the actual, whatchamacallit. So let me show this right here.
So I'm scrolling on my FYP, and why this man, hold on, what he say? He said when your Black American friend asked to go to Haitian Flag Day. Boy, we don't even know when Haitian Flag Day is. We don't care. We don't care. And the thing is this, dude, like, We don't care about a Flag Day in our country. Go celebrate Flag Day over there in Haiti. Like, you don't see none of us fleeing to no other country. Like, we got our own music, our own schools, our own food, our own style, our own inventions, our own neighborhoods that was so successful that our own government blew it up. Like, what make people think that we just gotta be in their culture and gotta be in their business when we ain't never tried to move to their land? I mean, this is crazy.
I don't think I got to talk about it either. Did y'all see the girl it was a young lady from New York, I think, and she was asking to hear more Black American music in Black American spaces in New York. And I think I talked about it already, and it led to a whole back and forth online between in New York. It led to a back and forth between the Blacks and Caribbeans, where you had Caribbeans pretty much saying, "We run this."
And he know that's a lie. He just want to get some views and comments. See, the difference is the diaspora needs us for views and comments on the internet, and they need us for anything in real life. Okay, destiny swapping.
I do notice too that I'm hearing a lot of the same. There's becoming a certain situation where when you watch these videos, I'm hearing the same talking points, which is not a bad thing. But you're hearing people saying the same thing in these cases because it's becoming the talking point, should I say. It's becoming the way to address these people. I want to show some more. There was one. I forgot who sent me this one. Hold on. There was one more sentence. Speaking of hey, which one is it? Oh, it's not it. That's the end. Here you go. I want to show this.
Hello.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. It says tethers are too emotional. I'm still shocked that how much that word tether really stuck. It's really stuck. It's crazy. Jordan Peele really changed the world, didn't he? Let me play this one.
That's the end.
I think this is old. This is old though.
That's independence, because this is not, get it, guys. This is not Haitian independence.
So what is
I
it?
understand.
This is in the Bahamas.
This Haitian Flag Day is simply to reinforce every year the significance and the meaning of the Haitian flag.
So the meaning of Haitian flag is so significant, why the heck you don't take the flag back to Haiti? I'm serious.
No, Dad.
If you love it that much,
we cannot continue.
This gotta stop, man.
If you want to continue, if you say you want a Bahamian citizen, you're looking for, I don't know how you're getting your passport. You can't be sitting around here. It'll never happen in America.
It is unfair to us. And this is what
yes, it does.
infuriates Bahamians, You got to stop shoving these things down our throat over and over and over again. Letting us know we love our flag more than you. We love our country more than we love the Bahamas.
And you see some of the voice notes, some of the slide voice notes that some of them send all the time.
Okay, stop it, man.
Disrespecting the Bahamas and Bahamians.
Okay.
I will say this too. The Bahamas are known as like the Uncle Toms of the Caribbean. Oh, not Uncle Toms. They're viewed as the most tap dancers of the Caribbean. They're very much Stephen A. Smith personality types, basically. They're known for being Stephen A. Smith personality types.
Bahamians allow it, guys.
It's insulting us.
You all often, both of you are businessmen. Both of you run multiple businesses. You talk about the fact that it's becoming increasingly difficult for Bahamians to step up and be employed, to assume positions, and to show themselves approved. So when you have lackluster performance and people who could care less and only want the money and they ain't showing up to work, then the others take over. We have allowed them to take the step up and take over.
So this is the same narrative in America. Well, these people will go to another country and all of a sudden they have all this work ethic and pride and ambition, but in their own country they don't really have it. I want to show this one too. Just speaking of the New York situation, wasn't Shirley Chisholm Bahamian? Yeah, Shirley Chisholm even said that Caribbeans have are better at negotiating with Caucasian Americans because they don't have the baggage and trauma that Black Americans have. She said they make better leaders than Black Americans because they don't have the same baggage with white people. Crazy. Let me play this right quick. Hold on. Somebody said Afro-Caribbean diaspora seeks to establish themselves as a distinct ethnic group, but encounters obstacles in Congress. Now, I know that they found out that in 2010, there were demographics in New York that were asking to disaggregate the data. They wanted to delineate between Black American and whatever ethnic, whatever Caribbean country or African country you were from. So this is something they've been wanting since 2010 in New York.
We helped educate her on the disaggregation of data and why it's necessary. She was already doing data for Black lives, right? Blanket Blackness. But she was like, oh my God, I didn't even think to separate this category out and how much nuance I'm missing without it being separated. And so
was that this lady that was on the other lady on the flyer?
Yes, the one at the end. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me bring the flyer.
Caribbean community. She is from Guyana. And
okay.
She was like, no, this is something that's necessary and that we as a community, we as a people group, meaning her and her fellow Afro-Caribbeans, need to be on board with.
Right.
And what's interesting about it is that they, especially here in New York, she's not from New York, they have already been on this movement, this wave. We're late to the party, right? So when people start talking about how divisive it may be or may not be, understand that in 2010, the Afro-Caribbean community pushed to disaggregate the data for themselves. It was called the Carib ID10 movement.
Wow. And what happened then?
So they pushed for it to be on the census. They said, you know what? Black/African American isn't enough. We need to be counted. And they had an entire campaign. It was pushed by activist Felicia Persaud, who currently, I'm not sure if she's still there, but at least 2 years ago when we first started this work, because we reached out to her, she was a contributor to the Amsterdam News, which is a historically foundational Black American newspaper. And unfortunately, we reached out to her to help us with the reparations fight at the time. She declined, right? But this is just kind of giving history of some of the people that we've contacted and what's been going on behind the scenes. But she pushed understanding what disaggregation was for her people.
Gina says, crazy that I'm 60 and just understanding this American immigrant issue and learning my elementary hero, Miss Shirley, is a tether is mind-blowing. Yeah. That's why I found it funny when they were comparing Kamala Harris to her when she announced her presidency run, I think on her birthday, on Shirley Chisholm's birthday, in like 2015? I think it was. What else we got? Oh, definitely got to show this. Look what this Negro doing.
I am Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I am proud to join you in recognizing and celebrating Africa Day. The continent of Africa is made up of 1.2 billion people with diverse countries full of rich traditions, cultures, and heritage. The African diaspora can be found in cities and countries around the globe. And right here in Chicago, our proud African communities have made indelible contributions to the growth and fabric of our amazing city. So this Africa Day, let us take a moment to celebrate the achievements of the people of Africa, the progress made by African nations, and the traditions and culture they have shared with us. And let us also show them that we will embrace and support them as they continue to overcome and face their challenges head on. Thank you, and happy Africa Day, everyone.
I was just Africa Day. Who asked for this, and why did it need to be in June? June is a busy month, man. What is it? Okay? You got is it Pride Month? You got Black Music Month. You got Caribbean. Is it Caribbean History Month? It's a lot. Men's mental health month. What else you got? June is busy. June is a very busy month. People say you're looking for a payout. Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. Before he got elected, now that we said this already, they said, man, he gonna make what's her name before him look like she gonna look so much better once he get in office. And yeah, out of trash. What the fuck? Mark said, I thought Africa Day was May 5th. I don't know. You also got, what's his name? Wes Moore did it. He brought in the African month or something he tried to do. It says Black Music Month and Juneteenth is all I'm acknowledging. Yeah, it's a lot going on in June. It's crazy because you got Black History Month, which is the shortest month, and then you got Juneteenth and Black Music Month, which is mixed in with all the other stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, what I gotta ask this? Oh, speaking of Wes Moore, as y'all know, he vetoed the reparations thing. Legislators say they will override the governor's veto for reinstate reparation commission. What we got next? Oh, I posted this in the community. No charges for woman in Burke County killing of boyfriend. Not surprised. Oh man, it's crazy because I wonder if people didn't see his post online, would the backlash against the killing, or at least this whole situation, have been so much more harsher that she would have ended up found guilty of something. And by the way, she changed the story. If y'all remember initially, she said that she was cleaning her weapon, her pistol, handgun. While she was cleaning it, it fired and shot him in the chest while he was laying down asleep. And once she got interrogated or whatever, the investigation came along. She said that actually they were in an abusive relationship. So she accused him of being an abuser. And that they had just got in a fight. I don't know if it was verbal or physical. And that he left the house. She told him to leave. He left. He came back. Apparently he had a knife. Or was she on the toilet or something? I can't remember. And she shot him because he was in fear of her life. I said, damn. And to tell you the truth, I don't believe her. But it is what it is now, man. I don't know. She was his joy to the end, the peacemaker. Marcia, just Google Africa Day is May 25th. Well, I guess is that national? That has to be national. So I guess he wants an extra day in Chicago. Or maybe that video is old, and that is the day he named it. Let me see. I don't know. It says once they see the community done, give a damn. This is what happens. Same with black cops that killed that boy. Yeah, that too. I talked about that. That was messed up. Like, well, 3 of them got off. The other 2 getting charged. They said that the dude who kicked him in the head are actually the ones who killed him. So they're getting charged with something. So they try to turn state, try to snitch on the other cops. But those 3 got off because they said, well, technically, they didn't hit him. They weren't physical enough for him. The stuff they did to him wasn't violent enough to kill him. But they also didn't help him. That was my point. They didn't do nothing to stop it. It is what it is. All right. Let's go. You know how they getting rid of all that DEI program, all that stuff for these places? Well, look at this.
News right now, the Justice
Department moves to drop police reform agreements with Louisville, Minneapolis.
Department says it's moving to drop police reform agreements from the cities of Minneapolis and Louisville, Kentucky. The agreements, also known as consent decrees, came after probes into the 2020 police killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. The reform agreements with Louisville and Minneapolis were intended to address unconstitutional policing and civil rights violations, but have faced several legal delays. Justice Department reporter Alex Ballin is joining us. He is following the latest there from Washington. Alex, great to see you. This is really a big deal because these are cities that dealt with a lot of protest over the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, many complaints regarding policing, right, in those cities. So what's the DOJ saying about why they're dropping these reform agreements, and what are we hearing from city leaders in response?
Yeah, well, Stephanie, the Justice Department says that this should not be coming as a surprise to anyone. They note that President Trump ran during 2024 and in 2016 on the idea that he wanted to give more power back to police, that, the idea that police engage in widespread misconduct is just not something that this department sees as something that should be addressed at the federal level. They just note that they can bring civil rights lawsuits against individual police officers when they are accused of engaging in misconduct. They do not see it as a priority to engage in these consent decrees where often you have, civil rights divisions attorneys spending hundreds of hours monitoring and continuing to monitor police departments who initiate basically training in order to fix the problems that have been identified in these investigations.
So basically, they did all that and nothing's coming from it. all that protesting, all those promises, and nothing came from it. On a corporate level, anything. I'm gonna say we not taking to the street for shit. Undo it all. They is too. Every last thing. What else we got? One more tab and we getting out of here. Hold on. Oh, I gotta show this guy. This nigga's funny. Hold on. Virginia says, I've been thinking today that DEI is about tethers and not so much Americans. Mm-hmm. Well, if we look into who's the main people that benefited from it outside of white women and stuff like that, and the gays, it's probably immigrants. So it's better to have, what they call it, double minority or triple minority even. It's better to be those things than just a regular old black person. But anyway, I'm showing this because this X page or Twitter page, I don't know, X page or Twitter, Juanita Broderick, she kept popping on my timeline years ago. It's some racist old white lady, but I have to admit, she funny. I don't follow her or nothing, but she pop up on my timeline from timeline. She be talking shit about all these Democrats. She kind of funny, but she racist as hell. But she recently posted this black woman here at a graduation. She didn't want to stand for the anthem. She decided to record herself not standing for the anthem, moving on. Who cares, right? So this Juanita woman started talking crazy about her. Disgusting ass white recording herself sitting while national anthem plays. Now keep in mind, on X, you get paid for engagement or views. She got 4.6 million views on here. So a lot of people say stuff to get views. It's pretty bad. But old buddy, I know this dude, he's a Pan-African dude, but he's also funny. And I didn't know who this woman, Juanita Broderick, was. But he told us who she is. Honorable said, this black dude from the Supreme Court told us that tethers are benefiting. Oh, yeah. He talking about, they ain't been on his ass recently. They left him alone finally. Virginia says, speaking of the racist as hell, but highly educational, Roseanne Barr and her regress reminds of the minds of white. Yeah, once again, you should understand the mind of anybody who's a quote-unquote enemy. Sometimes you cannot agree with them, but it's okay to listen to certain things from certain people, because other topics that's not about the things y'all disagree on, it could be very informative. But he pointed out, I didn't know who this woman was until he said this. Juanita Broderick, while married, slept with married presidential candidate Bill Clinton. Broderick would later claim that Clinton raped her after denying the affidavits that Clinton raped her for years. Kenneth Starr and the FBI found her to be a liar with friendly cooch. So this woman been popping up on my timeline, and I didn't even know who she was. But now it makes sense why she has somewhat of a platform. Hold on. This is Juanita Broderick. And when you look her up, it says American former nurse. So she's only known for pretty much having sex with Bill Clinton, as a couple women now are kind of known for. Regina says you must study those you consider your enemy, because they study the hell out of you. Oh yeah, they sometimes know you better than you know yourself. That's how they create entire think tanks on how to sell you stuff, how to manipulate you, how to you look at the algorithm that exists when it comes to your buying and purchasing habits. How you get sent certain ads at certain parts of the month because they can assume your mood or your personality based off of the things you do. Like They know you. They know you very well. That's how they're able to keep you in a certain environment, keep you with a certain mindset, or at least a certain certain stereotypical mindset. So it is what it is. Oh, white dude got attacked for going in the bar and calling people an N-word.
Video surfaces of a man police say might have been a victim of a hate crime. This happened after officers say an intoxicated man walked into a Marshall County club and used the N-word when referring to the patrons.
Investigators say that the bar is also a problem spot. They say that they respond to it several times every weekend.
Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson is live outside.
So you're going to take your ass to a bar, refer to the people in the patrons in there as niggas, and then when they whoop your ass, they then accuse those people of committing a hate crime.
CJ's Lounge on Memphis Street in Holly Springs. So Daniel, how is this man police are calling a victim?
Daryl and Darcy, good evening to you. Good evening to you at home. They say he didn't go to the hospital until today. He believes he may have a broken jaw. Meanwhile, CJ's Lounge is now closed. Police say that they were operating.
This is call it. I'm white and I say so. Virginia says, see how fast the media turned the bar as the bad guys versus the victims. It's crazy.
Without a beer or a business license.
Holly Springs police say cell phone footage they provided to Fox 13 News shows a Tippah County man who has been stripped naked. They say the people who attacked him are seen pouring on him what investigators believe to be beer.
They're acting like they tarred and feathered his ass.
Officers say
Virginia said undercover cop maybe? Or just a chaos starter, somebody who meant to come in and disrupt. I told you, I've been had a feeling all year that there's an attempt to create a protest this year. Keep it hilarious. There's some type of since Trump got in office, and this man it has nothing to do with it. Might be some random white dude got drunk, decided to be racist and got his ass whooped. It might be something simple. But I just feel like all year long, there's been things happening around the country to attempt to create people, to get people in the streets, and it just hasn't worked. Victim, old brother.
Because before they hit, kicked, and stumped nearly every part of his body.
The guy walked in and he was very aggressive.
Miles Stone says he was at CJ's Lounge on Memphis Street late Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Other guys in the area was listening, trying to remain calm. We asked them, they asked for him to leave quietly.
But police say the man continued to call the patrons the N-word. Holly Springs police provided another video of the man outside the bar, speaking erratically, throwing what investigators believe to be gang signs.
When there was scuffling and stuff outside, he was still trying to fight. He still was saying the N-word. Man, F-U-Ns, F-U-Ns.
Hey, at least he stood on it. He was getting his ass whooped and he still stood on it. Keeper said bug ass naked. They stripped him naked and whooped his ass. I hate to say, like, somebody checked the pockets. They ran him for the wallet. What he have in there? $40 or something. Hey, he got what he wanted, man. He got a night to remember. Jenny says the government probably wants the property for unknown reasons. Psyop. Hey.
Officers say the attack
and they got him spread eagle on the ground, face down.
Attackers used poles and sticks to beat him.
So you don't think this is a problem spot?
I do not think. I think it's a positive spot.
All right, here he go. If the cops say they're going out there 2-3 times a night, all right, brother. Well, okay. Yeah, all right, brother. I think it's a positive spot. Yeah, all right.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
All right, bro. Hey, that's what you're supposed to do. Stand on it. Hey, we whooped his ass. He went home. We good now. We don't need y'all outside the building bothering us. Leave us alone. We good. I'm gonna run through these last couple things. One of these I probably should spend more time on next week because I think it's pretty good. But this is pretty old now, at least. Florida A&M hires DeSantis ally as president. The HBCU in Tallahassee hired a president who has never worked in higher education but has ties to Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Her critics have dubbed her MAGA Marva. So this woman got hired as the president. Obviously, as you said, has some type of relationship with Ron DeSantis. And I went on the timeline, this was a couple weeks ago, and I saw all type of alumni who was saying they're taking all their donations away. They're no longer going to give donations to the college. People kept saying, but that's only going to affect the students. And they said, well, I'll find a way to help the students another way. And I just thought for a second, don't you want the president of your institution to have the most connections possible and the strongest ones? If I have the president of my institution and she has a good relationship with the governor, like, you want that person, that's why she got voted in. You want somebody who has powerful connections because that's good for the college, for the university. Like, I don't understand. Like I said, I'm tired of the derangement syndrome that exists when you just hear certain people's politics. Like, y'all got to move away from that now. It's like, come on. Now, I will say the critique that she hasn't had any educational job experience is like kind of wild, but hey, man, they chose to go for the relationship over the background. Following a contentious selection process, Florida A&M University hired a new president with no experience working in higher education, but long-standing ties with Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Marva Johnson, the lobbyist for Carter and Communications, faced sharp opposition from students and alumni who dubbed her MAGA Marva. But despite questions about her lack of experience, Florida A&M's board voted 8-4 on Friday meeting to make her the next president. Johnson also criticized by community members for board chair Christine Harper for her salary demands, which included base salary of $750,000 plus performance bonuses. Two other candidates requested compensation of $500,000 range, while one other was negotiable. Hey, man. The board decided to do something they think would benefit forward. Rest be almost the last. I'll say that for next week. That'll get saved. And that. But this is the last story I want to show. Six immigrants charged in South Carolina mom's murder, detailed crime, and eerie text messages. Just the beginning. 6 illegal immigrants, ages 13 through 31. First off, what are we talking about when you have age ranges from 13 to 21, committing a homicide? Like, y'all, this is pretty much obviously this is gang activity. Which is what y'all, when people were saying that these illegal immigrants coming in were part of gangs, y'all said that they were being racist and stuff. But okay, charged in connection with the South Carolina mother's random murder early this month, allegedly text each other about the crime afterwards. Lancaster County Sheriff Office deputies located Larisha Sherelle Thompson, 40, deceased with a gunshot wound behind the wheel of her vehicle on Riverside Road in Lancaster, located about an hour south of Charlotte, North Carolina, on May 2nd. On May 12th, authorities announced the arrest of, I'm not going to try to say these names, these immigrants, and 3 juveniles, 13, 14, and 15, in connection with Thompson's death and a separate burglary that occurred on April 30th. There's nothing that's stupid to me, too. You give the names of the people that are considered adults, the 17-year-old, the 18-year-old, and the 21-year-old. You give their names. But the 13, 14, and 15-year-old, you don't give their names, but you're probably going to charge at least 2 of them as adults for murder, but you won't give their names. Okay. So this story, keep it sentence for Venezuela. That's what I'm about to say. It didn't get much attention. We know why. We know why this wasn't a national story that was all over the place, being talked about and became some, viral, hot button topic. But it is sad that people like this are dying because you have politicians with agendas in power. These people that want to allow these people in because they want, whether they want their vote to stay in office, or they have some other agenda to push. And you got people like this who are innocent people who are losing their lives to criminals you're allowing in through the border. Because you got one side saying, don't let none of them in, they're all criminals, which that's not true, obviously, but that's somebody that's being very cautious, versus the other side saying, let all the men and the ones who are bad will get out because otherwise we're being racist. It's just two extremes. That's why the bill that he's pushing, where he said he wants to create a facility on the border so that when people come through, they can wait here, and it won't be some cages, they call it. It'll be somewhere that can be somewhat comfortable, where they can wait here to be cleared to go into the country or get cleared to have a visa or whatever. So hopefully something done about this stuff going on, because this is one of the hundreds of stories I've seen of Black people being affected by these immigrants. I've seen a story, I think, out of Minneapolis, of the Black woman who was raped and killed by the immigrant. In Georgia, there was one. And it's all women, by the way. It's all Black women. When it comes to the Black people getting killed, a lot, I would say majority, not gonna say all. A lot of them are Black women they're attacking. So not only is it a tragedy that they're killing these innocent people, it's a tragedy that they're cowards and going after women. So it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all get out of here now. Had a little extended break. My equipment was messing up. I had to fix it. Did an update and had to get some other stuff to implement it with it. But it should be good now. Hopefully everything moves smoothly as possible. But as always, man, thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Be sure to like it on your way out. Subscribe if you're not. Share it if you can. Really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Shout out to Kifa, Regina, Craig, Honorable. Shout out to all y'all for coming through. Mark. So much. And as always, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. Peace, man. I'm gonna tell him, Regina.